Yeah, hello Vilnius. So Ivo Moring is today with me. Yeah, Ein Stern.
Ein Stern.
DJ Ötzi. Some of you probably know this song. It was #1 hit in many German-speaking countries, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Martin Förtsch, and Ivo will come back later on stage and will share his perspective from the mainstream. So Ivo,
Exactly.
see you later, alligator.
Have fun.
And now let's start with our talk today. So the title of this keynote is AI Hits Different, Music from the Machine Room. So typically, I'm working at TNG Technology Consulting and wearing this lab coat. Yeah, it makes me appear more clever. And but there is one problem with this one. I prefer to wear black, until I find something darker. Because today I want to share some insights of my music project where AI tools are involved. Short disclaimer. This talk may challenge your assumptions about creativity, technology, and ownership. But feel free to disagree. But most of all, be curious. Let's start. When it comes to AI, what did Hollywood promise to us? A human-killing robot named the Terminator. And what we got is this one. Painting images, generating images. Midjourney, Dolly, you all know this stuff. You probably use it. Yeah, and after text-to-image, chatbots, what was the next station? It was music and sound effects. So out there we have, for example, Udio, we have Suno, we have 11 Labs Music. So you just type in some lyrics or you describe a music style and bam, there is a new song out there. So you can call yourself a musician. Or not, we will see. When it comes to music, you need to understand that music is more than just notes. Yeah? Music consists of different timbres. For example, a violin sounds different like the voice or a piano or something else. When it comes to music, we also have the dynamics. Yeah? Some instruments are louder, some are quieter, and of course, you have those effects like delay, reverb, compression, and stuff like that. And most important, when it comes to making music is the human imperfection. Let that sink in. Okay, so now you probably ask yourself, what is my industry's expertise in music? I'm a software consultant, right? Isn't it? Okay, when I was in the early years of my childhood or youth, I received a gift from my uncle. He had a keyboard with 2 defect piano keys, the so-called modern talking keys. So now the problem was, I was not able to do this kind of music. I needed to change the stuff of music I need to do, so it went to something like this. Yeah, so my band project is actually a dark electro project named Schwarzes Fragment. And you might ask yourself, hey, what dark electro? What is that? Let's have a look. So it was in the late 80s, yeah, and some music styles occurred, like, for example, dark wave or EBM, electronic body music, future pop, acrotech. Maybe some of you heard of bands like Front 242, VNV Nation, Apoptygma mal Berserk, hands up. Oh, there, up there, cool. But the following bands you probably know, I'm quite sure. Because without these bands, Kraftwerk and Depeche Mode, something like dark electro, electronic body music and stuff like that wouldn't probably not exist. So I won the 6th place in the Sonic Seducer Battle of the Bands back in the days. I had several releases on different samplers like Gothic Vision 3 or Gothic Spirits, together with bands like Letzte Instanz, Megahertz, Eisbrecher, you name it. Okay, so far, so good. Let's have a look to this one, Suno. Yeah, yeah, Suno. What is that? So actually, it's an AI where you just type in some lyrics, you describe a music style, and voila, you've got a song. Let's have a look into this. I never believed to be on such a big stage playing my own music. Okay. Okay, so what you just heard here was Suno 3.5, Suno 5.0, and the self-produced stuff. And I want to show you the whole workflow and pipeline, how I was able to use different AI tools to speed up my creative process, but still having the full creative possibilities. Yeah, and this is AI hits different music from the machine room. Let's have a look to the agenda. At first, a little bit of motivation. Then we have a look to composition and the production. And then Ivo will join us for the mainstream perspective. And later on, we discuss ethics, conclusion, and then hopefully some questions of you. So I had a sabbatical, and I was on Fuerteventura, and 1 month of making music at the beach. So the question was, could I use AI tools to speed up my creative workflow, or do I make myself just a clown in this case? This was the question I had. And before answering these questions, I need to define limitations. Yeah, what are real deal breakers? As I already said, not having full creative control over the whole process is a deal breaker. And I wanted to have full high quality, high fidelity sound throughout the whole production chain. Okay? These are the deal breakers, and now let's have a look to Suno AI. So this is Suno AI. You have a lyrics section here, and then you can just type in your lyrics. Or if you are really how to say lazy, then you could generate some lyrics. Yeah. Then you can define your music style you prefer, and then you just press on create. So let's do this right here. It's pre-produced, stable internet connection. Let's have a look. But it's in real time. You press create, and after a few seconds, you will have something to listen to. So. Pulse rise, claim the day. In circuits bright, we find our way. Electric dawn, a brand new age. At Big Tech Day, we break the cage. Yeah, this invites to dance, isn't it? Okay, let's. Yeah. Okay, so awesome. This is Suno, and you have an editor, and you can see different sections like the intro, verse, chorus, and whatever. What you can do right now is you can change the lyrics and melodies, you can add new sections, and so on and so on. But here we will find our first deal breaker. I am not able to change a single note. I just can take a specific range in the song, and I can say via generative AI, fill something new in there because I don't like this section. But then something will come out which is maybe good, but maybe not. But you can't say, I will have this specific note at this point in time, in this timestamp. It's not possible. Not yet. Maybe this will come later. So, deal breaker number 1, not having full creative control. Okay, from this point of view, I just could stop with this, but maybe we can do some tricks. We will see that. Okay, so how does Sunu work? To be honest, I can't tell you. It's closed source. I don't know. But we can maybe, also maybe it's powered by generative AI and transformers. So you might ask yourself, generative AI, what is that? I have a separate talk about generative AI and diffusion models. If you are interested, scan this code and you will see it on YouTube. Hopefully it's the English version. Maybe it's the German one, I don't know. But mid-journey, you type in a text and then something like this happens. A red apple, we type it in, and you see some noise, yeah? And the further the processing is, the clearer the output becomes, until we have a red apple. So how does this stuff work? Actually, most text-to-image models learn from noise. So we have all the images without noise, yeah? They get put into a deep neural network, and then different steps of added noise. You take these images, you press them into the deep neural network, and then the trained text-to-image model is able to generate pictures out of noise, enhanced with some informations like, please let that be a red apple after the reverse generation. Yeah, you know. Okay, so this is how it works. Very, very short. Very, very short. So people out there thought, if I can work with this noise and I can do this reverse diffusion, how does music look like? So let's have a look. How does music look like? This is a typical representation of a song. You have a left channel, you have a right channel, because we are listening to stereo music, and that's it. Okay, what can we see here? We have on the one axis time, and on the other axis we have the amplitude for the left and the right channel. Which information can you extract out from that, from here? We have two snippets here, and the only thing you can see actually is a quiet snippet and a loud snippet. You can't tell if this is a slapping door, if this is hitting a snare drum, playing a piano key or whatever. It's not possible. But the people from diffusion, they thought, maybe there are other representations possible. Yeah, and that's it. A spectrogram or spectrograph. What we can see here is, again, the time and now the frequency. And additionally, as a third parameter, the loudness of the specific frequency. So the louder parts, they have the red color, and the bluish, purple parts are somehow white. Let's have a look how this works in the real world. You listen to the sweep sound, you actually can see it here. This, yeah. And you can take these spectrograms and you can reverse engineer them back to sound. It's possible. Here, let's have a look to this one. Oh my God, that sounds scary, isn't it? Why does it sound so bad? It's because this spectrogram has a very low resolution. I just made a screenshot of the spectrogram and put it back into this application here. So this is the reason why it didn't sound that good. But anyways, you get the idea. The people from diffusion, they thought, okay, I train my diffusion model with spectrograms because they look like images, isn't it? So they took Stable Diffusion, which is an open source text-to-image AI, and they trained or fine-tuned them with spectrograms. And so diffusion was able to generate music. Yeah. So actually it was not real music, it was more like generating soundscapes and something like that. It doesn't have a real understanding how a song really looks like with the intro and verse and chorus and stuff like that. But you get the idea. So they just took spectrograms, training, open, stable diffusion, and that's it. So to visualize the idea, let's have a look to this one. This is a snare drum. And the snare drum sound, there are different flavors of snare drums available. Okay, you got it? And what we are doing here is you take real music, samples, whatever, and you add noise to it. Yeah, like it worked for the images, but here you do it with sound. You add the noise. And the idea is to reverse that process so that it looks like this. Complete noise, and now step by step it gets removed, and hopefully we have something which sounds like a snare drum again. And that's it. Okay, but how does Suno AI work if diffusion is based on spectrograms? Is Suno also based on spectrograms? That's the question. I can't answer 100%, but maybe a little bit, because Suno was lawsuited. And within these documents, there are some hints how it could work. Let's have a look to this one. Reverse engineering music from master to stems. Yeah, I gathered some information out of the documents of the current lawsuits, and it could be that the stuff they are working on is the master audio of all the songs out in the world, published by all those music labels and so on and so on. So what means master audio? Yeah, the master audio is yeah, the final music you typically listen in the radio or wherever. Master audio, I don't want to infringe, I don't want to get a copyright infringement, so I just took something which I generated with Suno. Let's listen to it. So you got the idea. You have all instruments there. You have the lead synthesizer, you have the drums, you have the bass, and probably some vocals later on. And what is Suno maybe doing? It's separating the stuff into stems. What are stems? Yeah, you are separating the whole song to its different parts, like the lead, synthesizer, the bass, and the drums. And this feels like this. Okay, the lead. Then and last but not least, the drums. So what is the idea right now? You can take these stems and you can generate tokens out of it. So you do some kind of tokenization, so-called audio tokens. It's a discrete representation of audio. Looks like this, and you know these audio tokens, you can't play them normally, but what you can imagine, it could be something like a guitar riff. Okay. It could be a sound from a press section. Yeah, so to make it a little bit easier to understand. And then you have these audio tokens. By the way, ChatGPT and other large language models, they do something also similar. They do next token prediction. So when you type in something into your favorite LLM, you know you have this typewriter effect. It's doing a next token prediction. And something similar could happen here with a next audio token prediction. And this is the idea. You have a user prompt, you have your trained deep neural network, and then you do this next audio token prediction. Yeah. To make it more complicated, there is maybe also some transformer architecture in it, but this would be too much to tell you what's behind that stuff. Let's continue with what we are really arguing about, the workflow, how to make music with full creative control. Okay, so we have these audio tokens, and as you heard it, the quality of these tokens are probably not the best because they are taken out of stems you produced from a master audio. So do we have high fidelity here? Probably not. So you maybe heard the difference when it comes to the quality of sounds, the drums especially, and all these stuff together. It sounds a little bit, I can't explain it, artificial, yeah, whatever. So let's go back to the project. So how do we do actually music? So what you can see here is Cubases on an iPad. And you can see these little blocks. This is a so-called piano roll, and there are notes on it. And these notes are triggering a synthesizer. Let's listen to it. Okay, so you got the idea? What is behind that stuff right now? Actually, we have so-called MIDI messages. So a typical MIDI message consists of 3 different things. We have a status byte, a data byte, and another data byte. What you can see here in this representation right now, we have the status byte, note on MIDI channel 3. Note on is like you have your synthesizer, you're pressing the key, note on. But which key? This is in the data byte number 2, the note number A4. Note A, octave 4. With a velocity, third data, the third byte, the velocity. So how hard did I hit the key in this case? So you have your MIDI message, and you can route it wherever you want it to a violin, to a flute, to a piano, to some synthesizers and everything. Back in the days, Jonas Meyer gave a keynote here about an AI creating music artificially. My idea back in the day was, why don't we train a deep neural network on MIDI messages, on MIDI notes and stuff like that? And then we generate melodies. Isn't that nice? But there is a big problem. Please remember, music doesn't just consist of notes. It's also based on those time timbre dynamics and all this stuff. And furthermore, the MIDI files out there in the web, they are not curated somehow. Yeah, there is much trash out there, and this makes it complicated. Okay, so let's have a look to the composition. Before you, yeah, the starting point to write a song is typically the melody or the lyrics. Yeah, everybody has its own idea where to start, so I typically write lyrics at first. So, when having a look to AI, especially large language models to create some lyrics, you have the problem that they often miss your unique writing style. Yeah, sometimes it's very, how to say, general, and it doesn't fit your style, and not that good. So I had the idea, we all know that prompt engineering is king. No, right, how was it? No, context is queen, right? Prompt engineering is king, and the context is queen. So that was the idea. Put as much context into the LLM as possible. So I wrote my own band assistant here. And what I did, I provided existing self-written lyrics. Everything I wrote in the last, I don't know, 30 years or something. Poems and other media content. So I fed that into my GPT. It's a part of ChatGPT. And then, after doing this, I told the model, I want to have this music style, a specific rhyme scheme, which mood should the song match, and everything. And then I got interviewed by the LLM, and then I generated lyrics, I read them, and I curated them. And this was an iterative process. And finally, I got my AI-written lyrics. So you might ask yourself, wait, you got interviewed by an LLM? Yeah, really. It's the case. So, because it was very comfortable for me to have my ChatGPT assistant, the schwarzes Fragment assistant, so to say. So, it knows everything from my band. The main music concept, preferences, aversions, what do I like, which words do I avoid, and stuff like that. Yeah, I also provided media material like flyer art and CD covers and radio interviews and so on and so on. I put everything in there. And then I was able to generate lyrics with this curating process in a small amount of time. But now the problem is I need a melody for that. So to be honest to you, for me it's very hard to have existing lyrics and write a melody for it, and vice versa. I can do both perfectly alone, but matching sometimes is really, really hard for me. Not for Ivo, as I learned. For him, it's very, very easy. So how did I approach this stuff right now? The idea was, why not asking Suno? I could take my curated lyrics, put them into Suno, and then again, I do a music style description, mood description, is it up tempo, down tempo, and so on and so on. So Suno generated again some songs, and I curated them. So you might ask yourself, okay, how many songs per final song did you generate? To be honest, 40 to 50 in average. And what is the curation process? Well, I defined my own curation, yeah, like how is the genre fit? How is the mute accuracy, vocal flow, originality, and so on, which is this very subjective thing, of course. But that's good, that's okay. So let's listen to different representations of the song you heard today. Digital Phantom, yeah, and let's have a listen to different stages of the song or different generations of Suno AI. The elections coming through your screen, manipulating hearts with a code unseen, with every click. Yeah, the genre fit is probably quite good, yeah, but it's a little bit too slow. I don't know. Yeah, vocal flow, so not enough power. Let's listen to the second idea. I'm the election thief coming through your screen, manipulating hearts with a code unseen. So you get the idea. So, and the last one, you already heard that. I will play it again. Okay. So now I have the song I have chosen, I have curated, I think, okay, this is an 8-bar loop I can work with, I can start with. So I have my Suno AI generated song, but I won't publish that because it's not me. And this brings us to the production, to the arrangement. Now the question is, I have my Suno AI song as MP3 or WAV file, whatever. So a professional musician would listen to the melody and then transcribing the melody by ear. But it takes too much time. So I thought, why not using AI tools? Okay, this brings us to Basic Pitch by Spotify. It's an open source project. You actually can run that on your computer, on your laptop. It's available on GitHub. And you put in your MP3 WAV file, and then, you won't believe it, it will generate a MIDI file. Yeah, it's I don't know, based on Fourier transformation or something like that. But the problem is, if you do that, you have this master audio and you put it into Basic Pitch, there is much dirt in the MIDI file. There are notes you don't want. I only want the main melody idea and that's it. The rest I can do on my own. It's just the melody, you know. So I thought about how can I be quicker with this approach and having cleaner MIDI files. I put them into something called Splitter AI. There are many AIs out there taking an audio file and separating it into stems. Back in the days, I used Splitter AI to generate up to 4 stems out of my song. Nowadays, Suno is able to do that, and it generates up to 12 stems out of a single song. Why was this approach like here? Because I wanted to put the stems into Basic Pitch, file by, how to say, stem by stem. And then I have a single MIDI file for the lead melody, for the bass, the drums, and whatever. And then I will have something like this. Oh, it's a piano roll again. By the way, this is the online version of Basic Pitch. You can use it online as well. I would say good enough. Yeah, you can hear the melody, and this is where I can continue from there. So, as I already said, up to 12 stems by Suno AI. You can try it on your own. Okay, so now you have this MIDI file, but you heard it. The rhythm is not 100% correct. It's not really quantized and everything. But this is where the human part comes in. So, how do I compose my music right now? It looks like this. This is my Cubases again, and now let's look at this.
A few moments later.
Yeah, and this is how it works. So this was the human part, and as you probably saw, I have the full creative control. I can set all the notes as I wanted. I can change instruments and everything. I have full creative control here. Okay, so now we have our song, and now it comes to mixing. Mixing. Can I use AI in the mixing process as well? Let's think about that. What does mixing mean, audio mixing? The idea is that you balance all the sounds for a clear musical and polished track. So, when it comes to making music, every instrument has its own place in the frequency spectrum. The bass drum is somewhere, I don't know, between 50 hertz and 150, 200 hertz something. You have something like hi-hats. Yeah, this is probably in the upper spectrum, 15 kilohertz, up to 20 kilohertz, whatever. And each instrument needs its own place in the frequency spectrum, because otherwise the mix will sound muddy. So, what do you typically do as a musician? You hire someone like Ivo. But I expect Ivo is very expensive. I don't know. I never asked him. So the idea was, I need an audio engineer. Let's try ChatGPT and let's do some prompt engineering. And the idea was that ChatGPT gives me hints how to make a better mix, especially reminding him that I'm doing dark electro, which has a specific style, which is not like metal or goth rock or pop. Okay. So I took my Schwarz's fragment assistant again, and I told him, act as a professional audio mixing engineer, and blah, 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 blah. And I provided some of my music snippets there, and it was analyzing that stuff. And yeah, how did we continue from here? So ChatGPT actually gave me some hints. It did a frequency analysis, and then it gave me some hints like, probably having a look to the hi-hats, that they have their right place in the frequency spectrum, that I have a high pass at 50 hertz. Ivo, what is your limit? It's 100 hertz, right? Okay. But not at dark electro. Yeah, no trouble, no trouble. Okay, so actually I uploaded some of those snippets, and to be honest, the quality of the mixes became much better, like I did it back in the days. But of course, there is some experience involved over the last years. You also learn from other musicians. Yeah, and it gives me also some hints like the kick drum is too loud, make it a little bit quieter, and so on, and so on, and so on. Okay. But then the mastering process comes in, and mastering is the final process. Yeah, so this is the very end of the production chain here. And there is an industry standard which is called isotope ozone. Yeah, and you have a mastering suite, and then you can add things like an equalizer, an imager, bass control, dynamics EQ, and so on and so on. This is, I know it's a very different language. We techs probably don't speak, but musicians do that. Let's have a look the difference between mastered and unmastered. Yeah, for the audience, I think the most the most intense part is that the loudness is very, very different. But in the details, you change also some frequency in the higher spectrum, in the lower spectrum, and so on, and so on, and so on. And now, as we run through the pipeline here and how we created the music, it's time for Ivo. So please give hands to Ivo sharing his experience from the mainstream point of view. Ivo, now it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, as you heard, I'm a music producer, songwriter, and I produce like all kinds of pop music, from pop to heavy metal, from hip hop to dance music, from children music to chill out music. I never tried dark electro, but I haven't heard about it before, so maybe I'll try that. And also in the last years, I did a lot of creating entertainment and education materials for children. So I just opened a new company called Green Kids Edutainment. So for that, we do a lot of entertainment things for children, and we're using a lot of AI. So that's why I'm so interested in AI. And as Martin said, there's no right or wrong when it comes to creating music. There's so many different ways how to do it. You see here this singer-songwriter sitting in his room and maybe trying out what could be the best song of his life and what does he want to tell to the world. That's maybe one extreme, and the other extreme could be someone who saw a TikTok video where someone told you can start your own business because you generate AI music and upload it to Spotify. So in between these two extremes, there are people like me. So we produce professionally music for other artists. We try to make it as good as possible. We play instruments and we use all the technologies that are available. So of course, we also try AI. But before we can use AI, there's one thing, the legal the legal problems, because all the big companies like Universal, like Sony, like Warner have very strict policies when it comes to using AI. So when I signed my last distribution contract, I had to sign that I don't upload any AI content. But I'm doing it always because and all the software I'm using are already some AI tools inside. So what can I do? But it's changing very fast, and like every week there are news. Like today, Warner announced that they made a deal with Suno, so Warner will allow maybe AI music in the future, and Sony for now they don't allow AI in any way, not for images, not for videos, not for music, but all that will change, I guess. But we have to be aware of that, what it means for us as a producer and as a songwriter. So if we have a look how music was created in the past, you know it started here. So back in the days when the Beatles recorded until in the 80s or 90s, it was very expensive to have a recording studio. That's why all the bands and artists wrote their music in their rehearsal rooms, they practiced, and the bottleneck was getting a record deal, because in the end, record companies, they paid for the studio recordings, they paid for all the promoting of the music, they paid later for the videos. So it was a very cost-intensive and long process before you could release music. And then if we jump to maybe a few years ago, before AI music, it looked like this. I think this is Martin's setup when he's traveling. So all you need is an iPad, a small keyboard, and headphones. And nearly everybody who spends a little time on learning this technology could already produce music and could also upload it. So the numbers were, in the 80s, we had around 100,000 songs released per year worldwide. A few years ago, I think it was around 100,000 songs released worldwide per day. So that shows how much music is already released. And in my opinion, it's too much, but I will say something to that later. And now with AI, you don't have to learn anything. You just have to prompt one sentence and you will have a nice sounding song that you can upload. So that brings a lot of new content, and we will see what that makes with the industry. Okay, for me, how do I use AI? There are two main problems. First, Martin said it, the sound is not good enough yet. I mean, on a handy, it sounds okay, on a mobile phone. But if you listen to the music in a club, on big speakers, or wherever you have a good speaker surrounding, it just is not punchful enough, it has not enough power. But I guess that will change, because Zuno is so much better now than a year ago. I'm pretty sure that in 1 year, the sound will be not the problem. But, and it's similar like with if you create images or videos, we're not really in control. We cannot control the details. We prompt and we prompt and we prompt, and it's making things and it's changing things, and hopefully it's getting better. But it's just not doing what I really want. It's just doing something. And that's for me the main problem why I don't use AI in the real production. I use only AI mainly for making demos or ideas. So, but as I said, we are already using AI. For example, same as Martin, when I work for songwriting, we normally work in teams. That means I'm normally the music guy. I play instruments, I record. Then there's maybe a singer who comes up with a melody, and there's a lyric writer. And of course, we ask ChatGPT, for example, for ideas, but we use it mainly for inspiration. So it's not ChatGPT who's writing lyrics, it's still the lyric writer. Other example would be that I'm using quite often now if I produce a song and I want to find out how does this song sound in another style. I write a pop song, how will it sound in a rock arrangement or in the dance arrangement? And that's just one click. So and often it helps in defining the production style for the end. And what I'm also using quite often is like changing voice colors. So let's say I make a demo of a song and I find the singer should sound more like a rock singer. So then it's really one click and I have another voice color and it sounds like a rock singer. Or I record a singer and I record him 10 times in the chorus and I change every of these 10 takes to another voice color and I have a nice choir in the end. So these are just a few examples. Or I have it not here, but I'm just doing a project for children where we try to do metal music for children. And for this one, I tried to write a song on my acoustic guitar, recorded it with my phone, put it into Suno, told Suno create an instrumental sounding like an Australian hard rock band from the 80s. So I wanted AC/DC, but I'm not allowed to say AC/DC to Suno. But Suno understands me, so it made a nice instrumental, and then I sang on it, like my melody, my lyrics, gave it back to Suno because my voice, I'm not a singer, you don't want to hear it. But Suno has no problems with it and changed my voice to a very good professional hard rock singer. And so it takes me maybe now 1 hour from the idea to the finished demo that I can play for other people. And that helps a lot. So what's good, what's not so good? As I said, everybody can produce, or let's say prompt music now. Everybody can release music. So it's kind of fair. The bottleneck are not the record companies anymore. The bottleneck is that there are too many songs outside. Because for a new artist to cut through the noise these days and become there where you could see him is really difficult. And in the end, people are listening to music and they're listening the same time to music as they did a few years ago. But we have so many more artists and releases now. That means for every artist, in the end, less money. So it's really more and more difficult for new artists to make a living out from that. And for me, if I listen to music that is generated by AI, it's the same like with videos or images. I always feel the AI can produce good average results, but I never heard a music song that produced by AI that was really excellent or really outstanding. So, and that's the problem for me because I'm a bit worried that we are getting used to this quality level, that it goes down and not up, because we're listening to so much AI-created songs or videos or images. Yeah, that something will be lost in the future. But I guess for the most of the people, how they listen to music these days, it's more and more, we're not listening to artists, we are listening to functional music. We're listening to Spotify and we're typing in, play a playlist for morning coffee, play a playlist for, I don't know, workout, for focus, for sleeping, for having sex. You can find a playlist for everything on Spotify. I mean, that's the way how we listen to music. And for that, maybe it's enough to have this average kind of functional music. I don't know. But so in the end, because we're working a lot in our company with AI tools and we have some developers, and what I find out is when we really work together with these AI developers and tell them what we want, and if they listen to us, and if we have some human interaction in the whole process, we are able to create music or videos or images that are better than just average. So that's my goal and that's my advice to you. Really try to work together with the creative people, with the developers. Don't forget the human side, and then we can really create good things also with AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivo. Then let's continue from here. Now we are entering the parts of ethics. When it comes to ethics, back in the day, people, it was unclear how Suno AI works in the background. So we thought, okay, it's probably been trained without the owner's consent, but nowadays it's definitely clear. Just have a look to the lawsuits documents. Yeah, the question is, how will everything continue from here? Maybe authenticity is a thing in the future. Maybe live performances become more important. Because, you know, the people out there just clicking a button after they prompted something, are these the people performing that stuff? You know, emotions they wake up when you are at the concert, probably. Yeah, if you can feel the heat and the energy from the performing band, and just listening to something which was made in the cellar room, I don't know. We will see. This brings us to the conclusion right now. Okay, let's sum up all the steps again, and now a very personal view on this thing. I just try to gather some numbers with my old process and with my AI-driven creative process. So back in the days when I wrote some lyrics, I needed an average time of, let's say, 12 hours, which is quite good. But now with AI, with my approach using my GPT, where I put all the context in it, it was just 2 hours. Yeah? Generating, curating, iterating, and so on and so on. So I have lyrics where I feel very comfortable with, where I think, okay, this is me, 2 hours. Now let's go to the melody. So I have a lifetime saved counter here, 10 hours. Yeah, okay, so now to the melody. Yeah, when I write my melodies, I have an average amount of time of 23 hours probably. And now with the help of Suno and with the help of ChatGPT, of course, I have just 3 hours, because you can generate 25 up to 50 songs in a very short amount of time, and then you can curate the stuff you want to have. Then you have your melody, and then it goes back to the arrangement. Yeah, full creative control. I want to have full creative control over the notes and everything, and the instruments. So here we have 32 hours without AI, and with AI it's 24 hours. Okay, why didn't I save that much time here? Yeah, because I'm doing music. Yeah, I just have the melody idea from Suno. Everything else needs to be arranged, to composed and everything. Nevertheless, you learned that I use Splitter AI, or nowadays Suno AI, to generate the stems, and yeah, right. And with basic pitch, I generate the MIDI files to speed up this process a little bit. You probably ask yourself, why is ChatGPT in the arrangement section? The reason for that is I wanted to write a song. You know, I love Hans Zimmer, yeah, the music movie componist. Hans Zimmer's really cool. And I wanted to write a song which has an intro which feels like Hans Zimmer, yeah, which has cineastic movie vibes. So I asked ChatGPT, okay, how to accomplish that? I knew I need strings, that's clear, orchestra and everything, but there are those very special drums, and I didn't know what are those drums. So do you know which drums these are? Yeah, just say. Please? Yes? Yeah. What are the name of these drums? You what? Drums, okay. Okay, I had the same problem actually. I didn't know these drums. Is it a timpani? Is it a I don't know. ChatGPT told me you need, of course, strings, you need a brass section, and you need taiko drums. Japanese taiko drums. I have never heard of these things. I never saw them actually. But then, as I have my iPad, I have all my instruments in there, I search for taiko drums, and see there, these are taiko drums. And within a short amount of time, I was able to have this cineastic, Hans Zimmer-alike music style. Okay, let's have a look to the mixing. Mixing 10 hours without AI and 7 with AI. Why? Because I still needed ChatGPT to tell me where do I need to focus on. Yeah, what are the tricks? How can a dark electro-vocal voice sound like a dark electro-vocal voice? Yeah, how do experts do that? I'm not saying that I was able to have the same quality like modern bands nowadays in this genre, but I think the quality became much better. The mixing quality I made on my own. Mastering was done with Isotope Ozone, and yeah, here again I used ChatGPT. Yeah, give some hints where do I need to make a cutoff and everything. So to sum everything up, without AI back in the days for one song I needed about 80 hours, and with AI I doubled the speed. And this is quite amazing, especially for me, a software consultant sitting at the beach with only 1 month of time to produce a new album. Yeah, with my old process, I probably would have only half of the songs there. So, did I make myself a clown? You can decide. From my personal perspective, I'm quite happy what I accomplished here. So the sound quality is quite good. But how do you measure if music works or not? Giving concerts, for example, or releasing them, and then something like this happens. This is a friend of mine, the bald guy here. It's a DJ, and he tried out Digital Phantom. It seems to work. The first time it played in this club, typically people will go. Yeah? Because if they don't know this song, they don't want to dance. Go. Isn't that cool? Yeah? The music played in the disco, awesome, the own music, and people are dancing, that's it. That's so cool. And the best stuff is, on Spotify, my numbers went down. I know some of you already checked my Spotify profile during the talk. I'm quite sure, because tech audience always do that. And you probably noticed that it currently shows only around 50 monthly listeners. Just one thing, these numbers aren't correct. Spotify's fraud detection system flagged my project for artificial streaming. Not artificial music. It's not artificial music. Artificial streaming. So bots just calling the songs, listening to the songs somehow, and so numbers go up or something like that. Yeah, so due to listener spikes, this probably occurred because it was played in discotheque. We are giving talks about that stuff. The numbers go up, and what happens? You get flagged by Spotify. That's nice. And the best performing tracks, even the debut album, was taken off. No human review, no support, just an automated decision. And that's exactly the point I want to share with you. When we let AI systems make high-impact decisions without humans in the loop, false positives can hit real people. Creators, developers, and businesses. Anyone. So keep that in mind. AI doesn't just create. Nowadays, it moderates, it judges, it enforces. And sometimes it gets wrong. Note to Spotify. Sometimes artists just get real listeners. So let's make sure that AI doesn't just create the future, but is probably guardrailed as well. So Spotify, I promise I didn't cheat. Your algorithm just has trust issues. So, what did we learn today? The conclusion. AI can put out a lot of music out there. Yeah, you can generate a ton of new songs. And everything goes through the step of curation. Curation is everything. You need to choose the one thing you say, oh wow, this fits my style. By the way, when it comes to marketing, could AI also help me? Let's have a look to this one. This is Dirk. This is my synthesizer player. Yeah? And I put some photos of him into my ChatGPT assistant, and I thought about, hey, well, we can generate some comics, some funny comics. And we put them on our social media profile. And then something like this comes out.
10 seconds left.
Okay. So, now I want to finish here. Yes, AI can create music, it can sing, it can mix, it can imitate, but it cannot decide. And that's exactly where the difference lies, the moment when you listen, feel, and curate and discard and everything, that is the moment when art happens. Among all those dozens of versions Sunu spat out for my song ideas, yeah, it was my mind, my hand that listened to that stuff and said, this is the one. This is me. Many say AI makes music, but what it really does, it creates options. Music only comes into being when someone has the courage to choose. Yeah, that's what I want to share. And maybe that is precisely the point. We build assistants that, when properly set up, support you in your process, in the stuff you want to do. Because no machine knows what it feels like when a sound hits you right. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. Dankeschön. So, you know, we have plenty of questions. I saw Slido platform. It's like mega hit already, but we don't have much time for all the questions because after party is of the corner. Just one question. Just one question. Don't you feel like you missed the art of the artistic creative process by relying on tools such as the ones presented?
Yes, I miss it totally because it feels like, I mean, it's so fast to create something with a prompt, but it's a different thing. It's just not producing music, it's prompting music. It can be okay, but I'm missing something. I understand that it can be a nice business opportunity completely, but for me, something is missing.
So we are at this, don't you feel like you missed the art of the artistic creative process, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, it's hard to say. So for me, it's not a big of a problem, because in a band, you have typically different persons doing stuff. And there's always this guy having nice melody ideas, but he's always drunk and has no time to do it. And now Suno or Udio or whatever is my drunk band member who has nice melody ideas. And in fact, it's just the melody idea. And as I said, the creative process is still when doing the arrangement. But you're right. I don't invest 50 hours or something to have the lyrics and the melody idea together. For Ivo, it's his main job, his main profession. But for me, it's a sidekick project. I do software development most of the day.